Hello, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, and welcome. It's Nurse Richard. Welcome to the big one. Yes, I'm Nurse Richard, the Wax Wizard, and what have we got coming up for in episode 300? Right above me is I'm going to show you a live earwax removal with the patient included in it. We've got a possible middle ear cholesteatoma. We've also got a bit of fungus thrown in for good measure. And finally, we've got this procedure you can see here, which is a probable keratosis obturans with a bit of bony erosion in it. So yes, the big one. Why have I called it that? Because, like I said, this is episode 300. You'll just see above me. Follow, like, share, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. All of that would be appreciated if you don't mind. So every milestone, which is the hundreds, I tend to go all out, go hard or go home. I always live by that motto, and so every 100th episode, of which is now 300, I like to throw the kitchen sink at you, so to speak. And I've been saving up some of my really interesting procedures, and we've got some belters for you here today, and also do other different things as well, which I'm going to get onto a little bit later. Some of you who've been watching for a while, you'll know, but I've thrown in a song as well for you for good measure. I know I did that in episode 200, but this one, there'll be a card to it at the end of this procedure. I may well pop a little a card up halfway through this as well. In fact, I'll do it just above me there, so you'll hopefully see a little card with the video of it, which has been released about half an hour before this one. So what can I tell you about this? Now, this was quite a young lady. It was a teenager, in fact, late teens possibly. Now, why do I think it's keratosis obturans? Now, I'm still at 100% on that, to be honest, but I mean, it's quite unusual in someone so young to have such an accumulation. She'd softened the surface of it as well, so it's not quite obvious yet, because you haven't got that matrix that you often see around it, but you will see that quite shortly anyway. As soon as I can get this lifted up and you'll see at the base of it, you've got this matrix. I'll explain a little bit about that. So what is keratosis obturans? Now, it's a condition. It's not that common. We do see quite a fair bit of it though in the clinic here, and it's where the skin naturally. I'm teaching you grandma to suck eggs. A lot of you regulars will know this. But what happens every 100th episode, I get a lot of new followers usually who's watching something for the first time and they're like, what is all this about? If that's you, by the way, welcome aboard. Got some catching up to do. So yeah, get stuck in. There's another 299 of these. Maybe not all as good as this one, but good nonetheless. So yeah, keratosis obturans. What happens is the skin in the ear canal, which is what a lot of this is, the skin naturally migrates sideways out of the ear, starts on the eardrum, ripples outwards, and then travels out along the ear. And most ears are kind of self-cleaning. You'll hear it described as like a conveyor belt as such. And that's what happens in most ears. Now, ears that have what I think this lady has, that doesn't happen. So the skin just dies and sheds and stays where it is. So what you can end up with is this giant ball of ever-expanding dead skin in the ear canal. And there's a few landmarks which makes you think that's what it is. You can kind of see now the outside layer of it, it's kind of white, so that's a freshly shed layer of skin. And towards the centre, a lot drier, a lot harder, and a lot blacker as well. I've just put some oil in here, as you can see. Yeah, she's not been using cotton buds. There are a few loose hairs in here, but this is kind of just grown, is a long short of it. But why I was concerned round about this point is when I'm trying to lift it up at the base there, it was a little wet, not just because I'd put the oil in, but you can see these little white areas just to the side of the suction tube there, and she had been experienced a bit of pain. It's called otalgia. You got a fancy word for it? I don't have to do fancy medical terms, that's not what I'm about, but you can just see on the right hand side there, can't you? Looks a bit suspicious, that area there. You'll see that what's going on there as we get onto the video a bit later. I forgot to turn my phone off as usual. Sorry about that. So I'm going to try and peel it down from the top there. And it is really packed in there, and that's what happens. It kind of expands. I know Neil describe it as like a rubber ball, so you can kind of tell as soon as you're in there the consistency of it. And because it's trying to expand, what brought it to me was being she'd having a lot of pain. Now the skin in the ear canal is extremely thin, and so when you're getting this ball that's expanding into it, it puts a lot of pressure on it, and it can be very, very uncomfortable, which is why I'm being extremely slow and careful with this one, because I can't do big movements in this, unfortunately. I would love to get hold of it and give it a right good shake and a jiggle and a wriggle, but she didn't find it too uncomfortable, but she could tell I was moving things around in there. So I'm probably being even more cautious than I ordinarily would be with something like this. Because it's a young lady who's obviously quite nervous about this. Obviously had a lot of pain in her ears already, so you certainly don't want to go making that any worse. So I'm trying to do this as gently as I possibly can, because it's a first experience of having something like this done, and she's going to need it done on a regular basis, you know, at least every year, to keep on top of this and prevent it happening again. So you want to make sure her first experience is not an unpleasant one, you know. So that's why I'm going really, really gently here. So what have I got coming up? Yeah, the one after this, you'll see me disappear. Some of you will be going, yay! But then you'll see me reappear in a different guise. So what I did is I recorded a live removal. So we had the image that you can see of the ear, but we also set up a camera on a stand, so you could see me and the patient outside the ear as well. It's a fairly straightforward removal. There's nothing unusual or weird about it. I'll come back to that in a minute, but you can probably see this is the area that I was concerned about, because you can see it's a bit paler here, just to the right of the suction tube there. And just as I lift that up, I'm not sure it's at this point, but it's certainly not far from it, you will see just a slight erosion in the skin, where there probably is a little bit of exposed bone in there. Like I said, it's so thin, that skin. No, it wasn't at that point at all. I'm just doing some more peeling from the top yet, just trying to separate it. So yeah, the lady in the next video, in the live video, somewhat of a TikTok star around here. So go and follow her. She runs a channel with her and her son. And how I know her is I coach her son. He's on my rugby team. Proper character as well. He's a one-off once you've met him. Hello, if you're watching, mate. And yeah, so you should go and follow their channel. It's called Carly and Oliver. And the Carly spelled not with a C-A-R-L-Y, it's C-A-R-L-I-E, Carly and Oliver. Very popular, put a lot of funny videos on there, and like I said, she's a one-off. She's as mad as a box of frogs, and he's even madder. He's very eccentric, and I know you won't mind me saying that. So go and follow them. So can you see now, just in the bottom right-hand corner, you can see that hole there, can't you? So, I mean, you could say that was a localized cholesteatoma, but I think it's more likely the start of more of a global widening, which is what happens in keratosis. It's what keratosis obstrucans. It's what distinguishes the two. A canal cholesteatoma is more localized, i.e. just in one spot. But keratosis obstrucans, when it expands and expands, it kind of it's global. It meaning the whole thing, the whole ear canal starts to widen. But I think that's the start. Yes, it is just in one spot, but I think that's where it's just starting. And then if this was left in, I think the whole thing would probably grow and expand into that bone, which obviously you don't want it to do. So thankfully, we got it out before that started to happen. But just be on the safe side. Anyone who I find with something like this, I obviously refer them to the specialist, to the ear, nose and throat, just to get it looked into. But I'm pretty confident that as long as we keep getting these out, and don't allow it to grow to this point anymore. It shouldn't cause too many more problems in the future, hopefully. So we're just about to pull this out. So it wasn't massive in reality, but it was, considering it was such a small ear, because like I said, it was essentially a child's ear, even though it was a teenager. And out it pops in one nice chunk. There we go, slowed it down for it as well, and her reaction was priceless. She was like, oh my God, wow. So you can just see the little erosion there. So I'm going to disappear for a minute, you're going to watch the live removal, then I'll come back and narrate the rest.
Coming out.
Yeah, better out than in, as the old saying goes. There we go, that's a nice juicy one. You see that?
Yeah.
You manage to keep your dinner in. It's not the worst I've seen. It's not the worst I've seen at all. I mean, that one's only half blocked.
That one doesn't feel as bad.
No.
It's this one.
It's because it's kind of wet and sloppy, and it's probably fallen down, sitting on your eardrum. Right, do you want me to show you how we get this out?
Go on.
And you're not going to freak out, are you? So the camera stays next to your ear.
Yeah.
And then that's at Hoover,
Right.
is the long and short of it, which makes a funny noise. I'll just put it next to your ear so you can hear it. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Like a whoosh. Now when it grabs hold of it, it might make a little or a little slurp or a squeak. But obviously make sure you...
And I'll be relieved.
That's the plan.
I'll
But
be able
obviously,
to hear, I'll be like, right, can everyone be quiet
that's
now?
not necessarily a good thing, you know. Some things you don't want to hear.
I know. Well, when the dogs got out this morning, I can hear them.
Do you know what? If I lived with Oliver, I think I'd rather be half deaf as well.
That's true.
No offence, Oliver, if you're watching this.
That is true.
Right. So nice and still. One of them ones who's got them annoying rings in way. Pull. Get out of the way. There we go. That will make an odd little slurp. Let me just get it in focus. There we go. Right, in we come. Just shout up if you need me to stop for any reason. Doesn't mean I'm gonna, but you can always ask.
Oh.
One moment. Out she comes.
Oh.
Another wax baby safely delivered.
Before I came.
They're never as big as you think, you know. You want to see what it looks like in reality?
Yeah.
There you go.
It's only tiny.
I know. It's a powerful microscope. Just bear with me, it's up to somebody at the door. Let's have a look, see what it looks like. Alright, let me get a clearer image of it. There you go, there's your eardrum. I don't know if it's going to make a massive difference, that, but it'll certainly stop it becoming a problem. You just got a little dry flaky bit around the outside. I'll just go and grab that.
I just don't like touching my ears.
Good, you're not supposed to. You know the old saying, nothing smaller than your elbow to go in there. Don't be alarmed if you hear a little squeak. More than enough. There you are. I hope you enjoyed that. Big thank you to Carly for allowing me to do that, for appearing in the video. Like I said, go and follow her TikTok channel, Carly and Oliver. Absolutely hilarious. She's a one-off. I did forget to tell you before we went to that halfway through it, someone knocked at the door. So, even though there's loads of signs everywhere saying please don't knock at the door, it's appointment only. So yeah, that's why we had to cut away in the middle and return to the procedure. So what we've got here, a bit of ear fungus, a bit of shrooms in the ear, It's not the worst case I've ever seen. In fact, it's not too bad at all. But you'll see when I start pulling this forward, I'll slow it down. Can you just see all the furry fungus on the bottom of that? Which can happen. I don't think it's more on the wax itself than on the ear canal. But it was getting very itchy. This fella, it was driving him bananas. It was. So obviously we need to treat this after we've got it out, but it is really important when you have one like this that you really need to strip away as much as you possibly can, and I think we managed to do that. Nice little peel, that thick layer there. So yeah, as soon as we've peeled all this away, I've asked his doctor to prescribe some antifungal drops, which will hopefully prevent it from coming back. It is a bit troublesome to try and get rid of it because we naturally have fungus and bacteria in our ears anyway, but you don't want to create an environment where it can take over and colonize everything. So as much of this as we can strip off, then get it treated and hopefully it stays gone. But I'm being extremely diligent in trying to peel away as much as I possibly can. And I know a lot of you guys like a little peel and these little delicate bits. There is something I wanted to tell you. What is it? Oh yeah, I wrote a book recently. I wrote a book on earwax because a lot of people asked me to. So yeah, I did. I wrote a book on earwax. I probably should have done it on paper, to be honest. Sorry, I didn't tell you that dad jokes were included in today. If you've not watched any of these episodes before, it's not always about the earwax. I like to talk about a few other things, and recently we've started throwing in a few dad jokes just to keep you all entertained and stop you getting bored about me talking about the same thing over and over again. So throwing a few dad jokes, but yeah, I probably should have written it on paper. But no, in all seriousness, I have got a book coming out soon. I probably shouldn't have eaten it really. I'm sorry. I just couldn't help myself. Do you want another one? Go on. Let's have one now and then a couple more during the last procedure because it's a bit of a lengthy one. The last one after this, as you can see, I think we're done with that. That's it. Yeah, nice and clear, and it was stripped away as much as we possibly can do. So after the treatment, it'll hopefully keep it at bay. Anyway, yeah, let's have two more dad jokes. So I started going to the gym. Really, just go along with it. It's part of the joke. And I said to the gym instructor, "Can you teach me to do the splits?" And they said, "Well, how flexible are you?" I said, "Can't do Tuesdays." All but gold that. A lot of these, they're not mine. Just in case I've heard that before. Someone else did that. Yeah, I found them from someone else a lot of the time. One more for now. I also, before this job, I used to have a job supplying filofaxes to the mafia. I used to work in very organised crime. I love that one. Right, anyway, enough of that. We'll do a few more of them later. But have a look at this one. Now, you've just seen me clear away this big, soggy, mushy mess. And have a look at what's left behind. Really, really odd looking thing. As soon as I looked at this, I thought, ooh, I don't like the look of that. Some of you will probably know why I don't like the look of that already. So what's happened? So obviously she's come to me because she had a blocked ear, and we've removed a fair old chunk from there, so she can already hear again a lot better. But what she's got here is this like a string of keratin dead skin, which is expanding from the attic region of the eardrum. And if you don't know that, it's the most flexible part of the eardrum, that top portion there. And what can happen, it doesn't look particularly retracted, this. When the eardrum gets retracted, usually to do with an inability to regulate the air pressure. So the eardrum's kind of like sucks in a little bit. And the skin naturally sheds from the centre of the eardrum outwards. And if you've got any of these little pockets, the skin can kind of fall into that, and it can then start growing inwards, and obviously interfering with the ossicles, with the bones of hearing behind the eardrum, which is obviously not where you want dead skin to start growing, which is known as a middle ear cholesteatoma. Now, is that what this is? I'm not 100%, but I will say it does look very suspicious, because it's odd that this this string of keratin is expanding out from just that region. Now, the only way we'll find out if that is the case is if obviously this lady gets a CT scan, which I've referred her for as a matter of urgency. Hopefully it's not, and hopefully it was just some keratin that was just expanding outwards in this like kind of stalk. Very difficult to get a grip of this though. This is the fine end tube. Obviously wouldn't dream of using the big tube here. And again, as with the first patient, I'm being extremely gentle and cautious, because if this thing is attached to something behind the eardrum, we don't want to go pulling that and too vigorously, you know, we don't want to go causing any damage. But I would still rather get this bit out to enable us to have a better look at exactly what is going on there. And we got the majority of it, and what will be left, it might irritate some people, but there was no way I was going to take out any more than was already there. You just get this little string of dead skin keratin left at the end, but I wasn't entertaining going anywhere near that, just in case it was connected to something behind the eardrum there. That's not what I was wanting to do. What I also forgot to mention was, like I said, for episode 300, like to go all out, and I've written a song, which it'll already be released now if you're watching this, because I released it about half an hour before this one was due. But I'll put it on one of the cards. This only works on YouTube, by the way. If you're watching on Facebook or TikTok, you'll just have to go to my profile and search for the one before this one, and that's where it'll be. But I wrote a song called the Earwax song, and I hope you like it. And it will be attached to one of the to the video on YouTube at the end to the cards. If not, just go and find it. It'll be out there somewhere. And if you leave us a comment on that, or like it, share it, whatever you guys do, I will enter you into a draw to win some goodies. What goodies are they? It'll be a personalised one. So I'll send you some business cards. I'll also send you a suction tube, which I will sign. I will also send you the lyric sheet, which I wrote the song on, which is that. So I'll maybe write you a little note on that. I may even send you one of Neil's little fancy tools, not to use. You mustn't use it. And I'll throw in a load of other goodies. No matter where you are in the world, so just leave us a comment, say, yeah, I'd like to be entered into that draw. The last winner, in fact, got a mug sent to Canada, I think it was. Shipping cost me a fortune, so like I said, it doesn't matter whereabouts in the world you are, I will send you over some stuff. Go on, last two dad jokes. I hate sitting in traffic, keep getting run over. One more, old ladies in wheelchairs with blankets over the legs. Retired mermaids. All but gold. I think I'm not far away from, you've seen it, I've already had a real battle trying to peel this away. And I think we're not far off the end now. But like I said, you can't go gung-ho with something like this. You really can't. And I know there is a little scar on the eardrum there. Now, whether what that was caused by when she was young, I'm not entirely sure. She doesn't recall having grommets or an infection. So what's the cause of that? I'm not entirely sure. But you can just see this beginning to start to peel off the eardrum. Before this point, she could already, hearing was resolved. It was much improved when we just got the big first lump out, which was in the lateral portion of the ear. So you didn't notice too much of a difference with this, but still, I would have rather got it out so we can have a better look. And I did get a close look afterwards. Hard to tell though, because like I said, you've got this stringy little bit just left, and I'm not entertaining going anywhere near that and tugging on that just in case. But as you can see there, that is the area that we're always a little bit suspicious of. I'm like that about it. I'm not entirely sure what's going on there, but as usual, you ask the specialists in nose and throat to have a look into this to make sure there's nothing going on behind there that shouldn't be. Hopefully not. But anyway, I hope you have enjoyed this as much as I have. It's been a lot of effort to put it together, but I hope you enjoyed it. And like I said, there'll be a card next to me very shortly, so go and check out the song, leave us a comment on it, and you'll be in with a chance to win some goodies. But for now, take care of yourself, and I'll see you soon. Ta-da.